All right, folks. So today I'm joined by my awesome client, Christine, and we've been working together for the last few months. And I wanted her to come on and share her experience in the program to date. So, Christine, thank you for taking time out of your day to share your experience.
I'm delighted to be talking with you, Connor, always.
That's great. And maybe let's just start with a bit about yourself, who you are, where you're from, how old you are, and we'll go from there.
Well, I'm 62, which is an interesting age to be starting something like this, I think. I am an executive coach and consultant in business. I'm the mother of a 27-year-old. I run my own business in Ottawa, Canada, and I have done for the last about 25 years. I had a long career in consulting prior to that, and um, and I had a long career in the weight loss industry and the fitness industry, not career, but attempts, stops and starts in terms of getting my body where I wanted it. But last year, I had bilateral knee surgery. So I had partial knee replacements in both of my knees. And that was a bit of a wake-up call for me in terms of mobility. And that really got me thinking about my physical health and longevity.
Yeah. Maybe like walk back like 3, 4 months ago, tell people a bit more about like the position you were in and what kind of got you thinking like, okay, I'm out there looking for maybe some outside help.
hmm So I guess I've been going through quite a bit of change in my life over the last probably um, 5, 6, 7 years. I went through a challenging divorce. I think that's probably, you don't need that adjective. Anybody who's been there knows that that's hard. Um, and at that time, I realized that I really needed to reclaim myself, but it's a long journey to do that. So, coming to sort of this summer, a lot of my friends are talking about retirement and freeing up time to, travel and do things with their spouses and their families. And my friends tend to be very active and physically fit. And I just looked at that prospect and realized that that was not for me. I didn't feel that I had reached my peak yet, and I realized that I had to do some things for me to shake my life up a little bit. So I went back to school.
Mm.
I'm pursuing an International Coaching Federation accreditation, which has helped me see how excellent you and your coaches are. And as part of that program, we have to embark on a personal development journey as well that will contribute to us being better coaches. And I really realized that I was very, very, very good at cutting off my head from my heart and my body just to push through, get things done that I had to get done. My body would be sending me signals that I was tired or I was really sore or I was lacking energy. And I would just ignore it and I would just flip the switch of the automatic pilot and keep going to do whatever I had to do in my business for my clients, for my daughter, in my life, whatever. It takes a village to run a life, I find. Anyway, and so I just stumbled across uh your program, Connor, on social media. I saw you talking about mobility, and if you can't get up off the floor easily, you're not going to age well.
Mm.
And that scared me and it inspired me. And I was really worried about my mobility. If I'm investing, $25,000 in my education and my head, I better be investing in the body that's going to carry me through the next many years that I want to be around. So that's what led me to look at your program and consider it as something that could dovetail so well with my personal development goal that I was pursuing with my program at school at Concordia University here in Montreal, Quebec, um, and would help me have the energy and the mindset and the discipline and the knowledge to be an even better coach. Um, so the two programs really, really deeply, deeply complement each other and are supporting me in my own growth and development at this strange stage in my life.
Yeah, it's the point you made there is so interesting and common, I find, like the overemphasis on the uh I guess the mental side of things and the neglect of the physical side of things and just being able to shut that off. Um so it's very it's really nice that like you're doing both of these processes now, the coaching and then also the physical, like what that we're doing together. I'd like you to maybe walk through what was going through your head when you were looking at options. We were talking, it's the internet, like there's a
Yeah.
skepticism, like what was going on with you then?
Yeah. I I I know myself well enough that I'm very, very, very adept at deking. Um, I'm a very enthusiastic starter of things. Um, I I really felt good about making this decision to pursue the formal education for myself. I was really excited about what that might look like and turn into. But I realized that it was only half the investment that I needed to make. And I realized that I wasn't listening to my body, and I hadn't been for a very, 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 very sadly a very long time. I did yoga and I walked and I skied. And well, before my knees, I skied. I'm going to ski this year. I played pickleball, but I was stiff, I was sore, I lacked energy, I wasn't getting enough sleep, and um, something I had to do something. It was to a point where for me it was undeniable. But knowing that I had tried so many things, like I've done Weight Watchers and I've done intermittent fasting and I've done all kinds of things and I've started programs and I've joined fitness clubs. I've gone twice, I've paid huge fees, and I've never gone. And it's just disgusting. And those companies are quite predatory as well, I find.
Yeah.
Yeah, in my experience. And they don't have good coaches either.
Yeah, so lots of reasons to be unsure. What do you think? Because it is a very common pattern, people have tried a lot of different things and it's never ended well, which is why they're still looking.
Yeah.
So what kind of gave you the courage to just kind of jump into the unknown?
Um, well, I'd already done it in the academic community. I don't know if I'm the oldest in my class at school, but I kind of just thought, why not? What do I have to lose? And it's an investment in myself. And quite honestly, Connor, I'm not trying to, you know, flatter you, although you know that I I do have tremendous affection for you, you dead bug, you. I I, I it's his accent when he says the exercise dead bug.
Yeah, this is so
Um,
funny.
it was you. When I saw you, um, you were very genuine. You were not, you weren't trying to sell anybody anything. You were trying to create an understanding of reality. You were, you were very kind, knowledgeable, quietly compelling. And I found that very reassuring, Connor. And then and I'd watched a couple of your videos and I'd seen you had sent me some things which I liked because often you'll send a yes please on the internet and on Instagram or whatever it is and they take you through a whole loop of do this and do that and I'll send you some stuff. You just sent me some exercises to help me get up off the floor and it was uh it was a wake up call. It was incredibly helpful, but also quite shocking that I was having such a hard time. I did have double knee surgery and I had a hip replaced in 2015. So the body has some wear and tear on it. And your approach seemed measured. It didn't seem flashy. It didn't seem, um, uh, you know, it was substance, it was pace, and it was rooted in, you who developed it, who appears to me as an extraordinary human being. You're extremely knowledgeable as a coach. Speaking as a coach, I have been a coach or a consultant for the last 30 years or plus of my career. So I can recognize good coaching and I love when it's being done for me and to me and with me. I love being on the receiving end of it. But you and your coaches are very, very good. So that introduction to you and the conversations, and you really tested me on my will. You
Mm.
really, really, you really put my toes to the fire a number of times in our conversation, our initial conversation, why now? And, my answer was, if not now, when the hell am I actually going to do this? The clock is ticking. And if I am going to get into any kind of shape to go into the back nine on the golf course, we'll put it that way. I'm definitely on the back nine. I might be on the back three. Um, you know, I have to do something with my body, but joining a fitness club where it's up to me to go and there's not enough structure and there's not enough of a community around me. Um, and I do feel like, I know we're not, but I do feel like I am a snowflake and, special and unique. And I like the one-on-one. I like the getting to know somebody and feeling like somebody really has my back. And but at the outset, Connor, to be very, very honest, it was you and your personality. I do psychometric assessment. I assess people and their leadership abilities for my livelihood. And meeting you really gave me, um, I had confidence in you. You inspired confidence. And you were very, very, very supportive and very knowledgeable and very, very credible and very kind.
That's so good to hear. Well, thank you so much for the lovely words. I really appreciate it.
It's
And
true.
you made some really, really important points there, I think. Like, just, I think having some sort of a test can be very helpful sometimes, like getting off the floor. It's very basic, but then you realize maybe you haven't actually tried something like that in potentially decades. And as you said, it's a wake-up call. and then having some steps to start addressing that rather than a lot of the fitness advice out there is like if you're a 20-year-old gymnast then it's great, but if you're not and you have some surgery background limitations, it can be very difficult. um, let's talk about, so you came into the program, what was maybe the first breakthrough where you were like, okay, this is different to maybe what I've done previously?
There were two things. First of all, the three-pronged approach was really helpful. Um, I think that so the habit forming, uh, the morning and evening routines. So first and foremost, you emphasized the importance of sleep. And I have been in a sleep deficit for probably the last, oh, I don't, maybe my whole life. I really I'm a night owl. If I have work to do, I would stay up all night and I would sleep in as much as I could if I didn't have clients. And it was not healthy for me. The biggest aha or the biggest thing coming out of the gate was your emphasis on the importance of sleep and having a great getting to bed routine. So you get into bed at a reasonable hour. But more importantly, I am now getting up probably 3 hours earlier
Oh,
than I would normally. So that was huge. So that is a specific habit that I've been developing and changing over the last 5 or 6 weeks that has changed my life, and I will continue with it. I will. And that brings me to my second point about the biggest impact or the biggest thing that I noticed about your process is you ease in. You don't start off with okay, let's go. We're going to do 10 reps of this and we're going to get you going with some weights and you're going to, you'll build it up and, rah, rah, rah. When I did my first workout, it shocked the hell out of me because I realized how tight I was through here. I couldn't even get the dowel over my back properly, that one where my shoulders. I did not know how tight this whole part, the shoulders back, and it was the gradual start that showed me how stiff and how far, I had gone in getting out of shape and lacking mobility and agility. But it was the gradual approach that you took. When I did my first workout, I was still walking, breathing, talking at the end of it. And while I really noticed what was going on in my body, I wasn't crawling on the floor and out of breath and in agony the next day.
yeah. It's such like it needs to be repeatable for you to repeat it long term. But that's a huge one, like the sleeping,
Oh,
getting up 3 hours earlier now, easing in. So this kind of gradual, progressive, manageable approach. What would be like the third breakthrough if you were going to say one?
um, so it is what's amazing to me is um, how the way your program is structured, it creates space in my life for my priorities rather than crowding my life with other things that I have to do. And that may sound odd, but um I want to do it and therefore I do it. And now we're 5 weeks or 6 weeks into this, and I have not had the kind of shoulder mobility and movement and upper back strength that I do now, and I can even see definition in my arms um, already. I haven't had the movement in my shoulders in I probably 15 years.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
and I did not know my neck, my shoulders, and you know that awful little bump at the back of the
Mm.
base of your or the top of your spine or base of your neck, that ugly, ugly thing that a lot of people get. Mine has actually gone down.
Wow.
I was having a massage the other day, and my massage therapist said, "Oh my God, this has really changed. And I can feel the
Wow.
muscles in your upper back and in your shoulders." And
Mm.
it was, it just was a joy for me. It's exciting and it feels good and I can feel progress, but I haven't been killing myself. It's all, and the fact that I can do all the exercises at home and
Mm.
largely using my own body weight. And I'll tell you when I started the lounge chair exercise where you're supporting your body weight on your arms, um, I could barely hold myself up. And now I can do it. So I feel the strength building and I have far more energy. It's the energy that I have going into each day. Um, it has been, I mean, I wouldn't have survived the course at school. Initially, it was like drinking from a fire hose, doing the
Yeah.
school stuff and doing this and pulling it all together. But as I said at the beginning of this, um, it created the space for me to really get clear on what was important for me and why I was doing this for me.
Yeah. This is huge. I like what you said as well about like it's even though you're using time to do the program, it's giving you back more time. I think that's such an important thing for people to get their head around because it's always I just have too much going on right now. And people don't realize that once you give yourself time and you fill up your own tank, you've got so much more bandwidth to do everything else in your life.
It's phenomenal. It's phenomenal. It's added hours to my day because I have more energy at even at the end of the day. Um,
Mm,
and I'm being far more intentional about everything, much more mindful. So the course is encouraging me to do that. There's a lot of reflection. And the physical work that I'm doing with you, there's also a lot of reflection and checking in with myself and also, starting with the moments of silence at the beginning of the day to just there's can be a lot of noise going on in here, with ADD and, just all life. And starting with some silence and taking my coffee out and sitting outside for a few minutes as part of my morning, easing into the day and taking that time for me has made a huge difference in the quality of my days.
mm, that's so good.
Yeah.
Uh, I want you to give some advice to a woman out there, and she's maybe in a position that you were in, over 3 months ago, 6 months ago, 12 months ago. Maybe she's had some hip, knee issues,
Yeah.
um, and feels overwhelmed, like there's not enough time to add this stuff in, like it's going to be too much. Like, what would be advice you'd give to someone in that position?
Well, it would be, I would say you have to take care of yourself. You, women especially. I'm a mom, I was a wife, I'm a daughter, I have siblings. Um, it's far too easy to put other people first and not look at our own stuff. And your body can be very forgiving, but only so long. And if you don't, if you don't really consider what you need, um, and do it, you won't have that body there to support you, and do what you want to do. Um, I think it came to a turning point with me that it was almost undeniable. I realized I had to do something, and I was afraid and a bit ashamed of the shape that I had gotten into. Um, and it scared me. And I was concerned about starting a program that was going to be too much for me. You're a lot younger than I am, and
Hmm.
I I wondered about whether it was going to be realistic for me. And so I would say it's never too late to start something. You must invest in you, because you're all you have at the end of the day.
Mm.
Everybody else is doing their own thing. You must do it for yourself. I have a quote. I pull off quotes all the time. One of them was, everybody else has been doing what works for them. Now it's my turn.
Mm.
And then this one is, due to personal reasons, I'm going to keep getting hotter, smarter, more motivated, and more committed to my inner peace than ever before.
I love
Yeah.
it.
And and there was a poem that was read in, by O'Donoghue in my course this weekend. I was in Montreal this weekend, and one of the phrases was unfurl with grace into the new beginning.
Mm.
So you can do this program with grace. You don't have to be sweating and huffing and puffing and scared that it's going to be overwhelming. You can do this at your own pace with the support, with the structure, and you're not going to be overwhelmed. You'll be supported and enabled.
Amazing. Christine, thank you so much for sharing. You speak so well, and you just shared so much honesty as well, which I really appreciate. I know a lot of people listening will get a huge amount of value. They'll definitely see themselves in a lot of the things that you said as well. And I'm just very excited for 2025 to see where things go for you.
You best year yet, baby. It's going to be the
Yeah,
best year yet. I actually think that. I actually think that.
definitely.
And honestly, Connor, I thank you, because it was your kind eyes and your slow, gentle, confident, credible, knowledgeable demeanor that gave me the push, and you holding my toes to the fire to really test whether my will was there. And I'm so glad I've met you and started on
That's
this.
so good to hear that. And yeah, really just appreciate everything that you shared. And it's just the beginning, which is very exciting.
Absolutely.